Hey everyone, and welcome back to another World of Warcraft video. Today we're going to be basically doing an overview of the new 7.1.5 and Nighthold stuff. First of all, what is the release date of patch 7.1.5? It looks like January the 10th. Why? Well, we know that the Nighthold raid is coming out on the 17th, and that 7.1.5 includes a lot of the class changes which Nighthold has been balanced around, and it also includes a number of changes to the Nighthold gear. So basically, it does look like the Nighthold raid instance has to come out before 7.1.5, and the only possible day for that is indeed the 10th of January. Now, it could be possible that it would be at a later date, however, Blizzard did say that they would not disrupt the raid tier with the class changes, so that would either mean that they would be pushing 7.1.5 a few months after Nighthold, or, at least after the initial progression race, or they would pretty much put 7.1.5 out before Nighthold, and right now, it does very much look like that patch will be dropping on the 10th. That, of course, is speculation. It could change, but it seems like the only viable option. As you can imagine, it would be quite the disaster to drop a fresh set of class changes right in the middle of a raid progression tier. Now let's talk about the Nighthold itself. So this is the new raid instance that's coming in this patch. It's got a total of 10 bosses, and I don't believe you need to have completed any of the Suramar quest content to enter it, so I guess that's pretty good. Now, the normal and heroic mode open on the 17th of January. So it's pretty much following the normal raid opening schedule. Mythic and Raid Finder Wing 1 will open on the 24th of January, and then we'll need to wait a little bit more for Raid Finder Wing 2, which will open on the 7th of February. Then Raid Finder Wing 3 is going to open up on the 21st of February, and finally, we will actually be waiting until the 7th of March for Raid Finder Wing 4, which I believe is just a one-boss wing that only contains Gul'dan, who is the final boss of this raid. Of course, with a new raid coming, that means we're getting a whole big set of gear. Now, the raid gear in this patch is rather similar to that of Hellfire Citadel. Its base item level basically increases as you move through the raid, so the bosses at the end will be dropping a higher base item level than the bosses at the start. So the base item level for the first 3 bosses is 855, 870, 885, and 900 on LFR, Normal, Heroic, and Mythic modes respectively. The next 6 bosses are then 5 item levels above that, and finally Gul'dan is 5 item levels above that again. Nighthold is also the proper start of Tier 19, so you'll finally be able to get some set gear, something which we haven't been able to do so far in Legion. Blizzard are now giving you 6 pieces to a set, up from the normal of 5, but they still have their 2 and 4 set piece bonuses. This means that it will give you a bit more breathing room with your gear so that you can strike that sort of balance between the best item level / stats and still getting the 4-piece bonus. I suppose we can also expect just overall a good increase in player power, because not only will people be getting the set bonuses, they'll also be getting a kind of new set of high item level trinkets that are well itemized, so we should see just, people doing pretty crazy DPS. Now, speaking of the gear itself, I think it's worth saying that at least from a visual perspective, I think it's some of the best stuff yet, especially coming from the perspective of being a hunter. I think we're usually quite hard done by when it comes to a lot of the gear that Blizzard hands out. Well, this time I actually love the hunter set, and, I feel the same for most of the other sets. So overall, that is something to look forward to, and LFR gear is actually a recolor of the base set, so it's not like how it was in Warlords of Draenor. So for some players who want to get gear that sort of looks like the full set, you will actually be able to do that in LFR mode. Now, though, obviously, normal, heroic, mythic have the more desirable looking colors of gear. Of course, one of the largest areas with this patch has indeed been the class changes. They've been a bit harder to track on the PTR because many of them are basically applied as auras rather than spell changes. Blizzard are doing this to allow them to iterate faster on the PTR. It's kind of made data gathering a bit more annoying though. That said, Wowhead have compiled a large and up-to-date list of the class changes, so I recommend that you check that out. There will be a link in the description, and we will just have to see if anything changes when Blizzard sort of finally releases their own patch notes, but right now that's the best stuff that we have to work off. It's also worth talking about the legendary upgrade situation. It will be possible to upgrade your legendary gear to item level 940 in this patch. However, there's been a fair bit of controversy, as it currently seems like you will get it from the Illidan questline. Now that means you'll have to get past the stage that requires you to get 80 lingering soul fragments. These are currently capped at 10 per week, and they drop from most kinds of content. well, most kinds of, like heroic dungeons or plus content, I believe. So you will probably want to get working on these now if you haven't already. There has been a fair bit of pushback against this from players, so it might actually get rolled back. Again, though, that's, that could really go either way. Perhaps it would be a good idea for Blizzard to remove the cap or increase the drop rate or something along those lines. But that's the current situation. We'll just need to see if they sort of give us an update from their end. Artifact power catch-up is also coming in this patch, something that I think is quite exciting. You can get to near your main character's artifact knowledge level using artifact research compendiums, which are available at your class order hall. Additionally, all characters will be able to purchase their first 15 levels of artifact knowledge directly from the vendor for 500 order hall resources. So a new player who's starting off a new character or is on a new server or whatever now can benefit greatly from that. Overall, what we see though is a pretty large reduction to the barrier to entry for making a new alt. Now, you still need to get the AP yourself. However, with 15 levels of artifact knowledge, you will be able to get through your weapon extremely quickly. Now, as far as the other features go, the Brawlers Guild is back for a third season. This time you've got many new fights and big changes to the old ones, so it should feel like a new experience rather than just a numbers tuning sort of thing. You can get an invite from the Black Market Auction House, a rare Order Hall mission, emissary caches, or the elite Vrykul at Shield's Rest, who actually have a chance to drop them. They've also added micro events to the game. These are basically small holiday-like events that you'll be able to see on the calendar. They're not too consequential to most gameplay because they don't really carry great rewards with them, but that is kind of Blizzard's design goal. Anyway, Mist of Pandaria Time Walking has also been added, so you'll be able to do Gate of the Setting Sun, Mogushan Palace, Shadowpan Monastery, Siege of Nuzhou Temple, Stormstout Brewery, and the Temple of the Jade Serpent as of the release date of this patch, and it's the usual affair. You can get some gear from the vendor, as well as a mount, and you'll be able to get some more Time Warp badges. But that pretty much is it for the overall look going forward at sort of what's happening with World of Warcraft. I actually think it's pretty big because you'll be able to properly start off an alt now and have less of a barrier to entry in terms of time. For me, that's a really big thing. I'm looking at getting into PvP in a few other areas of the game, and I want to do that on new characters, so this will be an excellent patch for me. And as far as the raid goes, yeah, I'm also looking forward to that. I'll have to see what the situation with the guild is as to getting into that raid, but hopefully I'll have a bit more free time so that, unlike with Trial of Valor, I will be able to partake in proper progression, which would be quite nice. But anyway, that's it for the video. Just a quick overview of what's coming in World of Warcraft, likely within the next 3 weeks. So that's it for me. Thank you very much for watching the video, and I'll see you next time.